a lot of people who have Whoop were really getting bummed out by such tough scores.
Yeah, because it is like nervous system based.
It's nervous system based and it's athletics based.
Yeah, and not taking anything away from Whoop, because Whoop and Oura, we're not trying to replace any of them. Whoop,
No, we need
Oura,
them. We love them.
Garmin, Fitbit, Apple, Samsung, they're all amazing companies that are building amazing hardware and software.
Mm-hmm.
What we're doing is building a layer on top that is a fun, simplified self-awareness thing that brings people together.
We're trying to make these health stats easily accessible and easily understandable to the mainstream.
Exactly.
Really, because even when I go and I do this research, I watch the podcast, I do the biohacking, I do all that stuff. But still, when I am new to this health tech HRV world and I'm looking in my phone at the app, it's kind of confusing, especially at first. So it's like, man, if it's confusing for me who's in this, imagine just like the normal person who wants to get healthy. There are a lot of people who want to embark on this journey, but the barrier to entry is hard. They're scared. They're embarrassed. They don't have the community. And the reason I wanted to start Pear is because we didn't have that healthy wellness community. A lot of people that kind of,
at least a trustworthy one.
A trustworthy one, yeah. Like how do I say it? When I started my journey of getting better, getting more conscious, doing all that stuff, it started with not drinking, not going out with the friends that I was with, then started with getting better sleep and whatever else. But that's a lonely journey because everyone else was still partying and everyone I knew. So I didn't know anybody and there was no place for me to go find these people unless I scoured the internet for hours and hours. But even then, you ask a question, but you don't build a relationship with anyone. You don't know anybody.
Exactly.
Right? There's nowhere to like find a community for these types of people. And every single day there are way like thousands and thousands of people joining this community.
Exactly. So like all the wearable,
not our community yet, but the health community.
The wearable companies have been doing a great job bringing, and like the Hubermans of the world, bringing sleep awareness to the forefront and tracking awareness to the forefront. And there's hundreds of millions of people who track. And what does it mean if you track? It doesn't mean you're a superior person. It just means you have a level of self-awareness that you're working on and your brain chemistry is probably more balanced. And so what it means is there's an opportunity to connect people who have a lot in common.
Exactly.
And that's the whole idea with Pear. And creating this connective tissue that merges all the wearable people. Because right now, if you have a Whoop group, you can't be in a group with someone in Oura or Garmin.
And there's millions of us that are not connected.
Yeah, and
to me, like I want to connect with everyone because one, I want to make friends in this world. Two, I want to learn your hacks and your tips. Like most of the biohacking or anything I've ever learned to like feel better, I learned from you because you did that work and then you educated me on it. I would see what you're doing, see how those tests are running, and then I would try them on myself and use what works.
Exactly.
There's millions of people on the internet that I can learn from and that can learn from me, right? You love going to the gym and doing the whole thing. I like just going for long walks and runs and stuff like that. So we're the same, but we're different.
Yeah. And really the connective tissue of all of it is if you have a vibe score, if you're browsing a profile of, Brian Johnson's profile or some nice lady whose profile you stumbled upon, you can go see the metrics and you can just see, is this a person who's serious about like making their life better?
Yeah.
Is this person showing that they're accountable or lives this lifestyle? Because it's like when you go to a car meet, everyone has a car, everyone is into it. Everyone has that underlying language that they speak. So with Pear and the vibe score, it's just a fun little way to connect with people who are on your wavelength. And it's a great way for you to see the people you love. Like, our family group, every morning, I see how mom's doing. I see how you're doing.
Yeah, mom's the first person I check on.
And the vibe score includes sleep and heart metrics. And there's no super specific sciencey stuff. It's just like, was your sleep pretty good? Is your heart doing pretty good? You didn't like raise your heart rate overnight too much. Your HRV is where it should be. You'll get it 80 plus for sure. Like because you're within the zone. And so having a score that's not as aggressive, let's say, and that's easier to achieve with is more motivating.
And it's also a more accurate representation of your vibe and how you're feeling. I've noticed with the Pear vibe score versus the Whoop recovery score, it's more accurate. I feel more like I do with my pair scores than I do with my recovery scores, because the recovery scores are based off athleticism and pair score is just based off of the algorithm we created, which we're not going to tell you about.
Yeah, it's top secret stuff.
But why don't we talk about why we called it pair?